everybody? Welcome to MACkED Podcast. We're happy to have you here today on this week's episode. I want to introduce a couple topics to you. Before I do that, welcome, Rory. We're in the studio here in Clinton Township. We've got Rory McDonald, my business partner. We've got Damian Check and Dominic Check here today. So welcome, guys. We'll jump right into it. First of all, we do have a giveaway today. The giveaway is if you comment on our video on any of the platform, any comment.
Nice comments.
Yeah, nice
comments. Don't say you suck.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, nice comments. Yeah. Well,
Damian,
comments
talking to you.
Yeah.
I use my burner account.
Yeah. So if you make a comment, you will be entered in a raffle for 4 Tigers tickets. And courtesy of MACkED Podcast, we do have there are 4 rows off of the field on the home dugout side. So make sure that you comment on our video and let us know that you're out there listening. And next week we will draw a winner, or let the winner know who it is, and you'll get a choice of a variety of games. So
yeah.
Let's jump right into it today. So we want to talk about a trend that's happening in real estate, and something that, Rory, you've brought up to me that you've been noticing what's happening in the market with new types of purchases, or where kind of some people are deciding to go because of low inventory. And then we want to talk to you about how to insure this particular type of property, because it truly is the wild, wild west of insurance policies, because you have a lot of choices and there's not a lot of regulation from the banks or insurance companies how you have to insure them.
Yeah.
So, let's jump right into it, Rory. What are you noticing with some of your buyers lately?
Yeah. So just in general with the market, and if you listened to the podcast last week, we know that there's a crazy low inventory of homes. That is even more amplified right now on the side with condos. So condominiums throughout Metro Detroit, Oakland County, Macomb County specifically are the areas that I'm seeing it the most, because it's the areas that I'm in the most.
Yeah.
But just the inventory is so unbelievably low with condos right now that it's causing a skyrocket in the value of those homes.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go even more quickly. The market that we saw in 2020, 2021, where things were moving super fast. You put the house on the market, you got 8 offers in the first 4 hours. Like, that's continuing.
4 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes even, right. That's continuing right now with condos. And I think it's important for people to know that a lot of what it is that we're seeing is, areas like St. Clair Shores, East Point, where you see a lot of the baby boomers who are like, hey, Royal Oak is another really good spot. There's some Oak Park, people who are in a spot where they're like, hey, I don't want to continue paying for somebody to cut my grass.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to eventually put a roof on this. I don't want to have to necessarily pay for water, or I like the amenities that a condo might have, i.e. tennis courts right on the premises, a basketball court right on the premises, a clubhouse for you to go, and you can there's card nights that happen within the condo. Some of them,
or you can rent the
clubhouse,
right, for a special gathering,
right?
Whatever.
Or especially right now in the middle of summer, people would love to have a pool.
So let me define this. Okay. So when we're talking about condos that you're seeing people are jumping into, we're not talking about site condos, which are actually like houses.
Correct.
But we're talking about like a condo community, a connected.
You're sharing walls with somebody.
Correct. There may be 8 condos in one building, or there may be 4 or 16 or whatever.
Yeah. That's
kind of like a townhouse in some ways.
Correct.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair. So it's different than like a co-op.
Yes.
Where, you're just buying into the co-op.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have ownership of what's happening with inside of your particular unit. And going along with that, with that being said, if you own a condo right now, you might have one of the hottest commodities on the market. It might sell quicker than everything else, and you might net significantly more than what you purchased this condo at. So one of the areas in Clinton Township that has just been fire hot right now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but Grossbeck and 16 Mile Road, Charter Oaks condominiums. It's actually Charter Oaks is the co-op, but directly behind that is Fox Chase. Fox Chase condos are I grew up in there.
Yeah.
My mom bought her condo for, I think it was $98,000 back in 1999, something like that.
Yeah.
Market goes down in 2008. Everything was worth like 50, 60 grand.
Yeah.
It was like that for a really long time. Those condos are up to like $150,000, $160,000 right now.
Wow.
For a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo.
Jeez.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of positives and negatives to a condo too. So
sure.
Some people love
so with a condo, you get a lot of the maintenance, like you said, right? So they mow your grass. You don't have to. Well, you pay condo association fees.
Correct.
So depending on the amenities that are given in that particular community, your fees may be higher.
Correct. Yeah. So the averages that we're seeing for condos in Macomb County, Oakland County is a little bit more, but Macomb County, it's not uncommon to see anywhere from $200 all the way up to about $500 a month that you're paying in a condo association fee.
Right. Depending on what's offered.
Correct. Like a lot of them that I'm seeing, water is included in that. So you can run the shower all day long with hot water. You're good to go.
Okay.
But it covers your roof, covers the siding, which a lot of those things are being updated right now, just with the money that was given out during COVID. A lot of those condo complexes are fixing that. Covers the cement. It covers getting the snow removed in front of your house all the way up to your doorstep, so you never have to worry about that. Covers the pool that's in the neighborhood. It covers, maintaining not just the street, but the flowers in the middle, so it looks really nice when you're pulling in. And it's a really amazing setup for somebody who the person who needs simplicity. And I don't want to have to worry about cutting my grass. I'm in the office. I'm working like crazy. I have to drive very far, and I'm gone from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. It's an excellent option for people like that.
Sounds awesome to me. I kind of want to sell my house to a condo right now.
Yeah, all 4 of your kids in a 2-bedroom condo.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Actually, Rochester has some really nice condos.
They do. Yeah, off of right by Rochester College over there.
Yeah, I had a guy that his kids kind of move out of the house. He's not retired, but he's moving towards that way. He bought a 3,500 square foot condo in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on our golf league, and he was telling me about it. I was like, yeah, I've had some clients that we've insured their stuff out that way before.
Right.
So.
Which the insurance aspect of is crazy, because I'll from an ownership of the association side of things.
Right.
Everything is basically the drywall in is your responsibility.
Right.
With the exception of like if you have a leaky pipe or something like that, that's your responsibility unless you're at a co-op. But that changes a ton on the insurance side.
Correct.
Because you're able to do upgrades within your house. You're able to put granite countertops. You're able to put the high-end cabinetry. You just can't remove walls in order to do it. But it changes things, I think, quite a bit for you guys.
Correct. So, Dom, you've done quite a few of the condo policies, right? And you've seen this. So, when someone comes to us, in general, as a rule, we like to see how they're currently insured, right? So, the best thing somebody could do if they wanted a quote from us would be to send us your current declarations pages and then give us some additional information, right? Have a conversation with us, share with us what your goals are for insuring your property, any concerns you have about it, but let us look at what you have right now, right? Block out the price. We don't care about that. A lot of people think, oh, send us that so you can send the price, and then we're going to do some voodoo on it and, make it more. Like, why would you come with us? Whatever. So anyway, so the best thing that we can do is actually, from an assessment standpoint, look at how you're currently insured, and then use our professional opinion to say, hey, this is how we should do it.
Yeah.
Well, here was a story of somebody who had this really nice condo, same kind of area in Rochester. And I actually went to this lady's house. She was older. She was a mom of a friend of somebody that I know. And she said, can you just come out, sit with me? I'll get all my paperwork out and go through my stuff. So when I look at it, she has $5,000 in coverage for her condo. Now, this condo is at least from the studs in. So when we talk about studs in, so if this was a condo in here, basically here in, we would be responsible for anything, right? Yeah. So like you said, if you had upgraded countertops, Furniture, your own furniture, you need to make sure that that's covered properly. Your floors, your cabinets, your everything, right? So $5,000, and this is what I told her. I said $5,000 would basically, if you had, say, a pipe burst and it flooded everything out. Not like a flood that you have water come through, your basement walls or whatever, but if you had a pipe burst in here, you would have basically enough money to maybe, depending on how severe it was, clean up the mess. And then everything else would have been out of pocket. And this is where we see on the condo side is that agents treat it like a renter's policy, meaning they just want to get a discount. Well, I should say this. They treat it like some agents treat a renter's policy, which is, let's just throw this policy on here with you. You rent, and we'll just put minimum coverage so you get a discount on your auto, which is really not how you should do it. But the condo is completely different, right? So you need to actually do an assessment, which we have a tool, right? Can you tell them a little bit, Dom, about what do we do to plug in to find out how much coverage we should have for that?
Yeah, well, and this goes for home policies or, whether it's commercial building, there is replacement cost tools that, basically you plug in your build out type. And in this scenario, we would say that it is a condo or co-op. That's usually how they coin it. Mm-hmm. And you kind of just go through whatever the build out is inside of the structure. And it's going to let us know, hey, this is what is the recommended amount to rebuild the inside, the studs in, if there was ever a total loss. I think kind of to your point with condos, first off, you need to find out if they own the condo or they're renting, because a lot of people rent condos just like they rent houses.
Yeah.
And I think that there's just a lot of confusion with the consumer, as well as, there are a lot of agents out there that they might just throw on the renter's policy because maybe they don't know what's going on exactly. Do they own it? Do they rent it? And so they might just throw on a renter's policy. And, the other side of it is too, we want to see the deck pages, because it is important to have a conversation and understand exactly how, you are currently covering it. And, more times than not, they don't understand how it's covered either. So that's one, why we want to see it, because we want to be able to come back and say, hey, this is what we'd recommend. We can always, sometimes you can go apples to apples on stuff. But it can get a little bit, hairy with the condos, because, as a society, we don't want to spend any extra money on insurance. So if you have one agent that's just kind of trying to, get a policy on the board, he might say, hey, go with this. You'll never have to use it, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But, kind of, to your point, you got a 3,500 square foot condo, that's a pretty big condo.
Right.
Right.
5,000, isn't going to do anything for
it ended up, she needed $350,000 at the time. Now this is several years ago.
Yeah.
But she needed $350,000 to cover this properly. Now that wasn't even counting her personal stuff.
Yeah.
Her couch alone was so nice. It's like the nicest couch I've probably ever seen. It looked like a $20,000 couch. So, she just had very high end, nice stuff there.
Yeah.
And the long and short of it was, the bank isn't ever going to question it.
No.
Right. Because it's what they want to cover it for. Right. It's whatever the person wants to cover it for, which is actually wild. I wish banks would pay a little more attention to this. And the insurance company, they're not, it's again, what the client wants. So you actually have to manually select what you want for coverage from the walls in, and you want for your personal property. So the long moral of this story is that you really do need to assess your property. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Sure.
Just because you can get a condo insurance policy for $95 for the year doesn't mean that you should,
right?
And yeah, everybody wants to save money. We get that. Life's expensive, things are expensive or whatever, but people spend money on what they value, right? So if you spend all this money on this condo and you have really nice stuff, and you really should, what's it going to cost you? A couple $100 extra to really take good care of it. And you really want to be with an agency that is going to look at it from multiple angles, look what you currently have, use the tools, because it's just not like we don't just look at it and go, oh, okay, we think it should be this or whatever. We actually have a industry certified tool in our carriers that gives us an indication of what we should do. Now we have different selection based on the finishes, things like that. Do you have crown molding? Do you have, higher end cabinets, things like that? We plug this in and then it spits out the number, right?
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of cushion in there too, margin of error, whatever, human error. But you need to be with an agency that does that for you. Same thing. We do it on the home side. And a lot of this information is available to us, but I think some agents, when they come in the business, they're taught how to quote something. They're not taught how to cover something. They're taught how to quote something, meaning sit down, take this phone call, get all the information, plug the information in, try and get the cheapest price, and then sell that. And agents really don't know what they're selling. I was lucky that over the years, I had a lot of great mentors to help me understand that it's not just about spitting out the cheapest price. Because if you write enough policies, those clients are going to have claims.
Sure.
And you want to be able to answer for the work that you did and the recommendation. Ultimately, it's the customer's choice on how they want to insure their stuff. But we want to bring the professionalism of, hey, this is how we do it, right? How many, Damien, I know when you started with us, I mean, you sat through endless videos of how to quote, how to properly assess a risk, right?
Yeah.
We have our, you sat with me with our classes, right? When you come on board on our team, you sit with me and you go through a number of classes.
Yeah.
We assigned you a mentor, right? Somebody who is there quoting with you. I remember you were actually up in this front office up here, and you had to make phone calls with your mentor listening to you and presenting to the client, right?
Yeah.
Which at the time you kind of want to be on your own. It's because it's tough and there's a lot of growing pains, but the one thing I learned from that is now here, fast forward a year and a half, 2 years, I don't, wherever I'm
Almost
at,
2 years.
Yeah. You appreciate those things because you learn what the coverages really are and explaining to people why they're important. You're not just throwing them on, throwing random stuff on. You really want to figure out what's important and what's going to help the customer. Because in the end, that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're not going to use the coverages, why have it?
Yeah.
Or if you're going to write it wrong, why even have it in the first place? So, that's the one thing for us is really learning and explaining to the customer what their coverages are and how that's going to help them if they need it.
Right. And we do get new agents in from time to time, right? And you've mentored people as they've come in, and you've kind of been a resource for them or whatever. And it's just I just want to sell something. I just want to sell something. It's well, that's not the point. Yes, we want you to sell because that's the job, but you have to get it right.
Yeah.
And you can't cut corners with it. So, and condos are a very easy place where if you don't assess the risk properly, that kind of thing can happen. So,
yeah, it's an easy place too for people to shop around and get a policy that's $700 cheaper than what,
Right.
And they're not usually that expensive, but, yeah, I mean, one of the most important things really with the condo is to really educate the client on what are you going to do if you covered this condo for $5,000 and you had a major fire. like they're questions like that. And it just comes back to educating.
Yeah.
Really. And understand what you're paying for.
Yeah. So in our world, it's an HO6 policy is a condo policy, right? That's the technical term for it. That's what you need. If you own a condo and live there, you need an HO6 policy.
Yeah.
And so what some people, because we've heard this before too. Hey, and I'm sure you've heard this before too. Oh no, it's all covered under the association.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's not.
It's not. Unless there are some policies out there. Some companies have created these policies just to get rid of what can be a nightmare for people. And they just say, it's in your association. We cover the outside and the inside. But typically a condo association policy that the association buys is just the shell.
Right.
Right.
Right. Which actually is so important when it comes to the purchasing of a condo too. A lot of people don't know this. And I sell a ton of condos in the area because I grew up in one. So I know a lot of people in Clinton Township that sell them. A lot of times when I'm the buyer side, or excuse me, when I'm the seller side of selling a condo, there's an addendum, almost like a rider that you guys have, where you have the ability to get an inspection, right? That's a given within the state. Unless you refuse, you don't want one.
Yep.
There's a time for you to look into things like flood insurance and things like that. One of the things that is always included with a condo, should be always included for your real estate agents listening who are not including them, is a condo addendum.
Okay.
Which specifically is laid out where I'm purchasing a condo from Damien. Let's say, hey, I want to buy this from you. Here's the deal. I need you to send me the HOA documents so that I can review them and I can look at them. Not only so that I can know if I can put a blue fence up instead of a red fence like you guys require, or I want to paint my door red instead of orange like you guys have it, but also knowing what it is that's covered, right? And I know I've talked to you guys. I've had condos that I look at the condo policy and they're all written a little bit differently. And I'm like, hey, dude, tell me what's covered in this, right? Like, that's a real thing too. But it gives you I send this to you and I say, okay, you got 3 days to get me this condo association information. Then once it comes to me, I have X number of days. Usually I put 5 days to review those documents with anybody. You can call a lawyer. You can call them, a friend who is another person that knows condos really well, or an insurance agent, or all of them even.
Right.
And review that and then come back and say, I'm choosing to move forward with this, or I'm choosing to back out based off of this. And there's no repercussion financially for that purchaser. A lot of real estate agents don't even know that these documents exist.
Oh, wow.
Which again, coming back to what you guys were saying before, understanding the process and being able to educate because you understand it is so incredibly important, right? Yeah. Like everybody, there's a fine line between wanting the cheapest option and the best option. Cheapest option is not necessarily the best option.
Right.
There's a real estate agent out there that will find you a home and you pay them $500. I'm sure that they exist. They're real things. And there's $100 policies that exist for insurance. Just because it's the cheapest option doesn't mean it's necessarily the best one.
You get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
But part of our goal too is to get the best pricing with the coverage that's best as well. Right. And then given some options within there. Some people, they want to add identity theft, they want to add sewer line coverage. They want to add all of these different things that are add-ons that maybe have a lower chance of something like happening. And it's kind of a, hey, do I want to take this risk on or have the company take the risk on? But the non-negotiables, I mean, you cannot insure a condo and just slap whatever coverage will give you like the best price on there.
Right.
I mean, I guess you can.
But you shouldn't.
But you really shouldn't.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't. And the amount that you pay it's not that significant to just do it right. Right. It's kind of like your parents always told you, just do it right the first time. And then a lot of problems go away.
Sure.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I love this topic. This is a good conversation. Happy that we were able to jump on this. Thanks so much for tuning in today here on MACkED, talking about HO6 policies and the fun of purchasing and selling condos here in Metro Detroit. Thanks for you guys tuning in. Definitely comment below too. If you guys made it through the entire podcast today, comment below on this so that you have the chance of being entered in for the Tigers tickets, row 4, right on the Tigers dugout. So besides that, you guys have an awesome day and we'll catch you next time on MACkED.
Take care.